Hello and welcome back to the beginning of Arc 4 of the Shifting Realms. We have come off of a massive time skip, and before we can actually dive into the next formal episode, which is going to be episode 62, we know that you are going to need to get a clear understanding what happened at the end of Arc 3. And for that, definitely head over to our Patreon. If you're a patron, check out our fireside chat for the end of Arc 3. But also, we want to give you a little bit of insight into our character minds. What happened during this big jump? What's actually going on in the world before we get into the campaign proper with Arc 4. So with that being said, here are some things right off the top of my head that you need to know before we get into character stuff. It has been a little over 1 year since Arc 3 ended. There are 11 months remaining as we approach and come up to the end of the world proper. 11 months remaining as we jump into the beginning of Arc 4. With that being said, I have given the party, the players, everyone here, a list of some 20, 30 plus potential quests that they're going to be able to accomplish over the course of Arc 4. Each of these quests are going to have durations, specific rewards, some risk as well. We're going to have to be thinking about what we are actually able to accomplish versus what we are unable to accomplish. We simply may not be able to accomplish all of the things that you all collectively want to do before the timer runs out. Now, as we ended Arc 3, we had this beautiful team being put to sleep, incapacitated by one Elpis Ambrosine, and then placed into cryosleep pods, essentially. They have been there in what we now know to be a little bit over 1 year. But the beautiful thing about this process is the matrix space that was created, this semi-permanent demi-plane that was created for them, allowed them the time they required to train, to develop closer, more strong bonds, and to maybe work through some research or other things they wanted to accomplish. Inside those tubes, 5 years passed. 5 years where they lived together in your traditional, almost like starting village type of energy. It populated itself with random and necessary NPCs to ensure that people wouldn't like lose themselves and feel like there's an appropriate day-night cycle. They can have good conversations.
It's not another shitbox.
What I'm trying to say is I'm not locking them in another shitbox necessarily. And I'm giving them boons, right? So they went in at level 10 and they're going to come out at level 12 with some additional gifts and abilities and things that they can accomplish. But because they would have you all lived together for 5 extra years, much, much, much longer than any gap before, much longer than the actual campaign itself has been. It is important for you to understand what these people are thinking. So all episode 61 is going to be is just that. Our commentary over what that time skip was. No scenes, no role play, but helping you understand maybe some of the character growth and development. So with that, I'll yield, pitching it back over to you all. You all have been spending a lot of time this week thinking, crafting, curating what is important to your characters and what you think you would have done over these 5 years in the cryosleep tubes. And now I want to hear all about it. I don't care who goes first, but I'd love to see some bouncing and some jumping back from each other as to what this looks like. What did you do in your cryosleep?
Well, I think one of the more pressing things was I think Giovanni had a talk with Nim. A long talk, several talks, the kind of, for the kind of healing and forgiveness that couldn't be accomplished in just one conversation. And I think that, Giovanni basically told Nim, like, you're not ready to open that box of sins until you learn how to process things, because sleeping and meditation, the kind of one of the biological functions they serve is to process experiences into memories and memories into a narrative. And if you go 1,000 years without doing that, you've kind of messed yourself up a little. You've turned it all into without empty spaces or words. It's like a sentence, right? It's a large wall of words without spaces or commas, and it's incoherent. So, and maybe you managed to get away with not having all these sins crush you because you didn't have to process them. But if you get them all at once, so that's kind of where they're at. And then Jibanu's going to train with, Jibanu's going to train with Silas, with Enoch, working on sword techniques, things like that.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, I think Jibanu's just very grateful for extra time
That makes a lot of sense.
in a relaxing little village with his friends, and has used that time to meditate, get to know all these people better, try and get into hijinks with Icarus and Kennedy and Ireless, peppering Kennedy with questions about the Ark cities because Jibanu made a living imagining what they were, and of course it was wildly inaccurate. And so that's kind of a broad overview of what Jibanu's been up to.
Nice.
Speaking of peppering Kennedy with questions about the Ark cities, I think one of the moments that made a big impression at the end of Arc 3 for Ireless was realizing that she didn't know anything about the Ark cities. She didn't grow up hearing about them. And so they're kind of like a non-entity to her until we enter Arc 4 in the mind meld. And so she's just like, as many questions as Kennedy will field about what they're like, who are the people up there, what do they look like, what does this sister look like, what does she like to eat for breakfast, like she's trying to form like the clearest picture that you could make of a world that she has never experienced and never even knew that she hadn't experienced it. And then thinking about like commas and sentences from Ben's. Ireless wants to learn to write prose as someone who is like quite literal and like information based until that point, and writes with Jibanu the story of the fish and the bird.
I'm curious before we hop on this. How is Kennedy taking all the questions that get peppered over towards him about the arcs?
I mean, he answers them because at some point he knows that we're going to have to return to them, and he wants everyone to be prepared as possible since they are a completely different society from what everyone else has lived. But he will make it very clear to Ireless that he understands her being connected to the planet and he gets it, but if it comes down to it, he will pick the cities because that's all he knows.
Yep.
That's where he's from, that's his family. So if it comes down to it, he will choose them to protect over the planet.
Yeah. And that makes sense to her. Like logically completely makes sense.
And he gets you like wanting the planet. He understands that too. It's like a mutual respect that they have for each other. But I do think he keeps you at an arm's length for the sole fact that he feels like he can't break the feeling that at the end of this, they're going to have two different feelings on how everything ends.
Yeah.
And it's going to affect how the party moves forward.
Yeah. Yep. Heard and agreed.
It's a lot to process over nightly omelets.
5 years. 5 years of omelets.
Well, yeah, but it's not like the main dish. It becomes like bread at the dinner table. It's like, and there's like, the dish of omelet in the middle.
Some warm omelet with your meal.
To start, does it stay warm or does it get cool?
It's your dream.
I think it's whatever we want. Ever refilling omelet plate.
No, it's not ever refilling. I'm working.
Speaking of food, it sounded like Kennedy kind of spearheaded the soup
Yeah.
quest.
Yeah, the 12 disciples when they fucking eat. It's like soup.
It's good soup.
It's good soup.
Dipping omelet in my soup.
Everyone kind of added their own element to it. There were some who added eggs.
Yeah, I picked
Lots of
those pieces
eggs.
out.
I don't know why you kept
Why the fuck
adding.
is this in my tomato soup?
some with
Right.
some spices and plants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You need plants
maybe a
in
little
soup.
blood. Some silverware,
Just your bowl
some spoons
in
to
my
eat it
bowl.
with.
Yeah. That's what Enoch contributed.
Silverware.
But that does bring up a good point about Enoch as it related to food, like in all seriousness. So, we've previously established that, Enoch as a Gear Force, he does not need to eat. Hermes as a human person prior to being trapped in the Gear Forged body was like a eat to live kind of person. Like, What's that?
He just takes a pill.
If you could, yeah, like that kind of, and maybe they had that technology in Archaea, but
Green.
I imagine that
Absolutely.
Talia would always, try to like send food with him to the lab, and he wouldn't always eat it, which is again like yet another sign of like lack of respect.
How did he get a woman?
I don't know. I'm not actually sure. Maybe he was like,
You're the one who knows
Let's
about
write
the
that
Arc
story now.
Cities.
maybe he was more charming when he was
This
younger.
was thousands of years ago.
It's really,
It was an arranged
really quite a
Probably.
conundrum.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that Enoch would have been doing is learning from Jabanu and some of the other, and Ireless and some of the people who like know how to enjoy life and the simpler things in life, and he's been trying as many new foods as possible. So while he doesn't need to eat, also this isn't actually real. It's he's learning that that's like the act of eating, like sharing a meal with the people that you love, is something that's important, and that's very human to do.
Since it's been 5 years in that realm, and Enoch's been awakened for much less time before we get there,
This is like the longest that he's been conscious
Yeah,
at
it
any
seems
stretch,
like-
we think. Yeah.
it would get really ingrained.
Yes.
I want to jump on food also.
Sure.
Ireless learns about everyone's favorite foods and makes them with Jibanu. And also, I don't know how time really works in this 5 years, but we'll make up when people's birthdays are. And she will bring them like birthday cakes and like do little birthday celebrations and presents.
That touches so much on both of the things that you're related to that I wanted to talk about. So I share my birthday with somebody else who's here, and getting to actually experience what that's like to not be under all that stress and to like truly just live for us, for me, for the first time. Because I don't imagine that there's a giant juggernaut body in a tube somewhere. No, we are.
They don't make them that big.
Yeah, we're connected. You couldn't even wish for it. We're connected. So, Solaris and Salubra are who they are in this space, and being able to see that face outside of a reflection for the first time in a long time, it mattered a lot. It mattered a lot. And those walls are coming down. I have no timelines, no contracts to worry about. The end of the world is going to happen, but not
Later.
right now. And there's nothing I can do right now that will help out. So with all of that connection building that we've been doing, and me coming to realize it very recently and getting to live that through, I think that touch base with Nim on kind of like paths that other people have put us on, and how we don't actually have to listen to those. Getting a lot of advice from her on that. Working with Kennedy on things that have happened to you that are outside of your control, and trying to regain some control about that has been super helpful. We've been training with Jibanu, like you said. You're kind of like the hero from the stories that I was told growing up now, and it's fun to get some of that that childlike wonder back. Training with, at the same time, with Enoch, who he feels very indebted to. Ireless sharing that same kind of childhood, also bringing that out of Silas, and getting to sit down with Icarus and actually talk about what it was like in Archaeath, what that learning was like, in a not confrontational way of just kind of like sharing and growing together, I think was super helpful.
So you brought your brother into this, and that is what colored your experience in the time skip. Enoch's time in the time skip was colored by who he did not bring into the virtual world. So unless this was not clear in the last episode, Hermes is not here. The fragment of Enoch's psyche that represents his id is trapped outside. So I've spent a lot of time over the past week thinking about this. Imagine, we all have parts of ourselves, tendencies, habits that we don't like, or we wish we could do better or change. No negative self-talk at this table, but we could always improve. Imagine if you could wave a wand and take those all away immediately. I don't even think we could imagine what that would be like, but I've tried to. So Enoch has been living with his friends for 5 years without the parts of himself that he does not like and knows that other people don't like. But also he knows that when this time is over, he's going to have to reunite with evil Hermes.
Hermes is waiting.
He's always waiting. So that's the thing that's overarching, colored everything. So that's why he's trying to figure out, how to enjoy life, and things like that, because when we leave, he's going to have to figure out what is his reason for trying to save the world. The world is worth saving. He's going to be speaking a lot to Icarus about the gods and trying to realize that, like us, the gods are just trying to do their best. I'm not saying when we jump out of here, he's going to be like, I love the gods and I'm going to do whatever they want me to. But I don't think he will be immediately contrarian anytime we were talking to, for instance, Torrent.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think she began to win you over a little bit.
Well, that's true.
There was something.
That's on real.
She just had so much to offer.
Really can't put a finger on.
A real perspective.
Not yet.
And mountains of assets.
Joe, do you mind if I hop in here?
Yeah,
to add
absolutely.
something? Because I think this could be connected with you leaving Hermes outside, and you bring in Solaris inside, but we also know that there's a consciousness in the grimoire, and we also know that you wear Patricia on your border. So I want to get the full picture here of where's Patricia during this time skip and what's going on
Sadly,
with the grimoire.
not with us.
No, Patricia is outside.
Okay. Patricia is outside on her own, but not alone, because that also Arcalia Rashtam is also out there in the form of a grimoire. So that she got a friend at least. And what about your grimoire?
I set my grimoire next to Arcalia's,
Okay.
who was sitting there, and that consciousness is Tross, who actually, I don't know if it's been subtly foreshadowed between Hermes and Tross that they might know each other.
We may have spoken about this.
Once or twice.
What hasn't come up is those two characters interacting, because little to us all knowing, Hermes Trismegistus is one of Tross's heroes, and never meeting your heroes is definitely a thing to learn. There's a reason why the gyroscopic technology in the auricularium just felt so familiar, because it was such an inspiration for his own work.
I see what you're doing with the auricularium, but have you considered putting them in shoes?
This hurts me so deeply to hear this. I don't know who's having the best time during this time jump, but I think that Tross is having the worst time.
Hermes
Tross
is
keeps
probably having
catching
a bad time
strays.
too.
Well, that's true.
I think Arcalia and Patricia are straight shit talking Hermes while sitting on Carl's trunk.
I hope my girl is, yeah.
She's learning things.
He stole from me.
I do imagine that Hermes is probably scheming to try to escape or sabotage this in some way.
Speaking of a bad time, after we get put into this, Icarus,
down.
With Elpis and whatnot, for I'd say probably a good year, he's just frantically pacing around, no, we gotta get out of this, this isn't good, trying to plan, trying to escape, trying to scheme, trying to figure out a way to do all this while everyone's starting to kind of relax. And I think this is an important period for him, because it is time where he can like exhale and like actually let the walls down a little and get to know the people around him better than just our mission.
Right.
And that's like, it's already, the cracks have already been forming with him and Kennedy and Alvin and whoever else joins, where we are basically have been roommates with the mega bed.
Yeah, we have.
and so we keep up that tradition here. And what started as just kind of a little like nightly routine of like checking in with somebody for the first time in my life, which became very comforting, is now like kind of happening around the clock. So he's now like getting to just talk to people with no motives, just to learn about them, to share about himself too, which he's not like to do. So I felt like he got very close with Kennedy. They've continued kind of just like living like roommates and
Mega bed.
They were
Yeah.
roommates.
But I will say though, the mega bed probably feels a little bit empty.
yeah. I was gonna say there is this sadness to this area of he misses Alvin, he misses Elpis, misses other Elpis, and telling people about that, but at the same time cherishing this gift, as Jabanu has put it. He gets to spend more time with two of his closest friends who he is really worried are gonna die, and so the walls have been up for a while, and they kind of oscillate of, I don't want to get too attached, I don't want to get too reliant on these people if they're not going to be around, but he can't help it. These are like the closest friends he's ever had in his life, and it means a lot. He's been having fun with Nim, doing some hijinks, and Enoch studying and training with Silas and learning about a different approach to the world that is just as important and valid as what he's been taught. And it's like the most human he's ever felt has been in this fake tube space.
Yeah.
And he really likes it, even though in the back or the pit of his stomach, he's like, this ain't right. Like it's not going to be like this forever. Like, this is the calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Trying to convince himself to enjoy it and just bond and cherish his last moments with these people is all he can do. But just in the back of his mind, he's going, I never get the happy endings. Like, this is all temporary.
Do you know what would make him feel better?
What?
Is when Enoch and asked him if he'd like to play catch with him and Carl.
He would, of course, join in on the condition that you help him with Jabanu and Silas and whoever else would like to join, practicing as much chess as possible for when we get out of this.
Oh, of course.
I got surprisingly good at chess with my new headband.
Everyone please add proficiency in chess to your character sheet.
That's so
I'm not
funny.
gonna-
I'm
I'm not
writing
gonna
it
add
down.
it.
But-
If you participate, you gain
I
it.
will make the chess sets. I'll make like so many chess sets, but
You
I
want
won't. I don't think I'll ever
Proficiency
play
in
with
crafting chess sets.
it. Yeah.
I would say the kind of most, like, one of the biggest things he does is really talk to Ireless a lot about your situation, about Elpis, and ask for advice about Elpis, and then also ask Enoch as the only parent in the party for true advice.
What a great role model.
well, with the logic. Oh,
It doesn't matter. Don't worry about
okay.
it. He's fine. Or
but
they are. I don't know.
with the logic that
Or
you are the best of
the other vampire
Hermes,
among
Nathan's
others.
character.
that your
Yeah.
bad parenting stays with him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So Enoch is trying to, be a good dad to Carl, and some of the other misfit children that are here, like Icarus and Kennedy, can join in. And
The brothers never had a dad. They are
everyone
dead.
can get in here and get big robot hugs.
Yeah.
Well-
Wireless is there anytime there's a hug.
You just apparate.
Yeah.
You just appear,
Yeah.
and then you disappear when it's done. Fade in, fade
I
out.
haven't been able to hug my brother alone in 5 years. Ireless keeps showing up.
That's too bad.
He'll do it at night, and she still appears.
I think Solaris takes that space in the mega bed if you let him.
Of course.
Wow.
Hey
Mega bed is
guys.
for everyone.
Don't get used to it, because when we leave here, he'll be too big to fit.
Yeah.
I'm bed.
I am bed now. To build off of it, where Kennedy grew up, he always saw Hermes also as his hero, specifically his sister's hero. So seeing that Hermes is a fucking asshole, he wants to change his whole mindset, and so he spends a lot of time with Enoch without Hermes there listening and being a little shit. So he would assist you with anything that you need. He asks for your help with his rifle. And he also sees you a lot like his mother, who was kind of blunt, but also like she was very caring and was obviously there, even though she made a couple mistakes along the way.
Yeah, we're all well. We can't actually do crafting, but when we leave, you know, I feel like we could have talked about some stuff that we could make, and then when we actually leave the tubes, we could actually physically make that stuff. So Enoch would be answering your questions and also telling you not about because he doesn't know about the Ark City, so he'd also be very curious about that as well. But he could also tell you about what life was like in the capital city pre-shifting, and telling about how it was probably not as great as you were told, but also as he remembered, because now he's looking back on it with clearer eyes.
I would be super interested in hearing Nim's interaction and engagement with that, because I'm curious if Nim and Enoch / Hermes would have a different recollection of what the world was like beforehand. Because somebody like Hermes might very well be like, this place is shit. Nothing's good enough. Like, the only thing that matters is the work that I'm doing. Whereas Nim, as Iris, may have been somebody like, this is everything around. This is amazing and beautiful. There's opportunity everywhere. So I think hearing that.
Yeah, I think that was very much Nim's experience. Was like, oh, this is like, these are the halcyon days, and she didn't even know that things were gonna end. And Iris was just such a nerd, and I think just really like just loving it. And I think in a lot of ways this time is a return to that to Nim. She like sets up a workshop, she starts tinkering, she invites Icarus in to both like as like a trusted like colleague, but also someone to just have explosions make big booms with, and just like relax and have a good time. And I think like in some ways this period of 5 years is like not only like she's reflecting on what it was like in the Ark cities, because in a lot of ways I think this time is the first time since the shifting that life has been easy in a lot of ways. Like we're provided for, and it's also the first time that she hasn't just been consumed by hunger. And she's still a vampire, but she's not like but she's not being driven all the time. And I think that it's also a time for her to reflect on the community she first spent time with after Erebos, which would probably come up because times were really different then. It was a lot more Wild West. It didn't really matter who or what you were.
What the fuck?
Born in the wrong
They
era.
invented
There were so many tumbleweeds. There were so many tumbleweeds. Milk everywhere. And like
they fished.
Like
they fished for
they
days.
fished for days. But it was like, so it didn't really matter what you were so much as like if you were ready and willing to help. And I think she like really found a community there, and like.
So why didn't you share this with me, huh?
Sorry.
I'm sharing now.
She didn't want to make you sad.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And
Thank
like,
you, Nim.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't want to make it sad. And I think that she lost that when war came, and she became more vampiric. And to this day, she's not sure whether she destroyed the village or it was already gone. So that's something that she's like I think that the idea of closeness and community is kind of deeply tied to that, like that really not only like before the shifting, but that time there. And I think she's like dealing with some of the fear of herself. And that's what the nightly meditations with Jabanu that continue even after perhaps she's learned and mastered, but they start having tea. They bring it in. It becomes this really, even though she's not sleeping, she has this grounding ritual that reminds her of the rhythms of the days. And I think also during this time, she starts trying to figure out how to repair her relationship with Misa.
It's very important.
It's very important, which she is like avoided deeply. So I think that's like, maybe edible flower bouquets, but that's something that she's like, that she's like just. What does it mean to live among other people when you don't need to eat them? and what does it mean to have this time, however brief? Yeah.
I think something that's really important for you all to be aware of and know is also, while you are in these cryostasis tubes, it's not like you knew you had 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think there should be this overarching worry of like, okay, cool, like, because somebody
Maybe
asked earlier,
tomorrow.
I don't know how the time cycle
Yeah.
works in here. It's a normal day-night cycle. It's a normal progression of time. Like, you have lived 5 years, but you didn't know if each of those days was going to be the last day that you were here.
Yeah.
Now, I want to believe that because the person who put you in here was at least a little bit mindful of that probably about like 30 or 60 days before your timer was up, like
You get like a warning.
you get a
Yeah.
warning message or
It's this-
something pops up.
A giant
Painterest.
A giant moon is slowly coming down. No, it's a big hourglass that appears in the sky and
Yeah.
flipped. We're like, no.
Yeah, never.
Okay, yeah.
mean?
What does it mean?
Well, that's why I think a lot of the things that people said various different ways that they were going to be like training and sort of like honing different skills and things like that. I imagine that sort of explains the how we've leveled up 2 levels and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, one of the things that Enoch would have been working on with training is like, so he has decided that he is going to stay in this body. He's not going to try to use the feather or some other means. He's, resigned to making the most out of this. It's a punishment, but it's an opportunity. But one of the things is like, he would like to not run into doorways and things like that, because imagine all of a sudden overnight you grew like 2 feet.
Yeah.
You'd be very clumsy. So
Just imagine.
I want it so bad.
Lord, I see what you've done for others, and I want those things for me.
Please, just 2 more inches.
You can reach the top shelf of the grocery store.
Buy it
It's
a
pretty rad. So he would be working with Silas to be more like fluid in his movements and more natural acting. So rather than I've role played in the past that Enoch would be standing still. If he wasn't doing anything, he would just be as still as a statue. Like normal people, even if you're you think you're standing still, you're sort of moving a little bit, and he doesn't do that. But now maybe it's just mimicking that to seem more like a human, but he would be doing things like that.
I think Silas would be very helpful in that, blending into your environment, like he was trained to do. These natural movements, even like breathing, is something you don't have to do. But when you are out on a hunt, the worst thing you can do is stand out. So you want to move with the environment. And I think us spending that time close together, just being an insightful person, can see the anxiety building in Enoch and in our interactions, and would want to help Enoch stay as independent as he can. And that little interaction that Solaris and Silas, or Salubra and Solaris had with Hermes, with the Void speech being a kind of like antithesis to how he operates, trying to come up with a way to, like, a fail-safe for you to regain control if something happened.
Yeah, and he could also, Enoch could also help Salubra get used to being because he doesn't look like the Juggernaut here.
Solaris.
But Solaris, I'm sorry. He
No,
doesn't.
it's okay. I'm still getting used to it. Too.
I know, because we flipped. Get used to being like in a new body, at least in like, okay, now when we do go back there, then you're gonna want to do this, like that kind of stuff.
There is some mention of training our ultimate forms with the werewolf and vampire forms.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you've kind of adapted this kind of Velen form as well. And after discussions with Silas about
Super
the
Saiyan.
perfect day, getting more details about
You were crazy.
Yeah,
Dude. It was so cool.
I think with the 5 years, the training for Icarus would look like, how do I get there? I've done it before.
Yeah.
My DNA should know how to do it. I think this is where he achieves it, where he connects with the upper planes enough and achieves his final form, where he has wings and he's really cool.
So
Wait, but
Your
is he
skin
buff?
is so clear.
That's a good question.
All of
Is
us
he
come
buff?
back buffer, I think,
There's
right?
a giant, yeah, it's the cryo tube.
Plus 10 to strength.
And with fuller lips.
We all have fuller lips when we reach for the cryo tubes. Even Enoch, which looks
Party
very
You're
disturbing.
suspended in pure collagen.
I think it'd be fun to have some final form fights, just
Yeah.
like hyperbolic time chamber, just like
Yeah.
training, like Moon Knight,
Yes.
super werewolf, vampire.
I will, because I said the
Juggernaut-
place
or not
is
Juggernaut.
fulfilled with like
I am
NPCs.
the knight.
When you summon wolves, I will let the wolves manifest here, so you could train with them if you wanted.
Oh, cool.
One of them stays for 5 years and is my pet.
Done.
Everybody else has a pet. It's my turn.
I think
Now,
that's just fair.
I do have a question because we've declared everything that are in the chambers we're able to bring with us, and something that I want to put Roger on the spot right now is
Keep going. I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying.
Pip has had 5 years to train.
Oh, yeah.
Completely disconnected from any outside beings that he may or may not be connected to. What's Pip doing?
I think
He's his own rat.
Pip has had to come to terms with a very similar series of questions that Nim has had to come to terms with. And what is your purpose
Oh my
in
God.
life when you're not
Yeah.
consuming flesh?
Rat.
He's
Right.
just
Yeah, exactly.
Little rat
When you're not-
hands.
yeah, when you're
Wow,
not driven
really?
What
by
is my
hunger.
purpose?
Yeah, I think
know,
he's-
right?
I think
he's like, I look into his eyes and I'm like, you get it.
Yeah, I think he's taken to painting. I think he's taken to nude sunbathing. I think
Which is just
Same.
sunbathing.
which is just sunbathing for him. I think he's taken to seeing a different side of himself, a side that is beyond what it is to be a consumer of flesh and a devourer of worlds. And I think that his mind is really expanded. I think he started baking sourdough recently as well.
To go with the cheese. It makes sense.
Pipatooey.
That's the name of his starter.
Strawberry cheese.
We have little Pip omelets.
Oh,
Yeah.
My dream.
100%.
Don't
I
eat
think
Pip.
inspired by Nim talking about making a workshop earlier, Irelis has been going on hikes with Salubra and Solaris, and she goes off and goes camping for a while, and then a longer while, and then a longer while, and maybe people start to get nervous because she's gone for 2 or 3 weeks several times.
I hope she doesn't die.
Well, then we start to hug if we miss you too much.
Right? With pockets full of stuff that I've collected, and I come back one time and Nim has a workshop, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna open a pretend magic shop, and it has no regular hours, but it is next to a tavern, and I picture it like an actual magic shop that was in Crystalbrook next to a tavern there, and it's just a fun little play space, a parallel play space, even though I'm not selling anything to anyone and nothing is real.
I found this shiny rock.
Yeah.
Mud.
It's got a face on it.
Solaris
Yeah.
definitely frequents to buy things
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
I need
with
stuff for my
unlimited
workshop.
fake
Yeah.
money
That's what little kids play
because he
town.
doesn't
That's
know
what-
how credit cards work.
It's
Free money.
It's definitely giving that
I
vibe.
maxed 2 of them out.
Hold on. I know you have something to add here because I see the energy, but I want to say because the village has populated everything that you need, the moment that any one of you would have gone to start your own business, a taxman also would have been populated and collected. You would have created new problems for yourself as you created possibly whatever you were going to creating the
defeated
magic store.
We get to learn how to
Taxman.
tax evade.
Jabani
years
runs
of
the
practice.
tavern next to it. At first names the tavern Oddballs. But then Irelis says, oh, there is this tavern in Crystalbrook Village.
Yeah, I think I come and vandalize the sign actually.
Yeah.
And I change it to the tipped goat. I just cross all the letters off and make a completely new
Yeah.
sign.
I like it. No.
I would go to the tipped goat.
Yeah. You better tip.
Absolutely.
speaking of Playtown,
Yeah.
do you think Nim could help Icarus with a 5-year financial plan?
Yeah.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God.
As the premier
Absolutely.
businesswoman in the party.
Yeah, she'd be like Icarus as the person who kind of instituted interest in banking. I'm here to help you. Yeah, she would definitely talk you through
Financial literacy
financial
classes.
literacy,
An actual
like,
trillionaire.
we could have we could talk about franchising.
Okay, so I buy
yeah.
1 Nim coin, and then this is gonna double in how many
Oh my
years?
God.
To the
I
moons!
To the moons,
I
Icarus.
think
Absolutely.
after seeing
Yeah.
Icarus take some agency in
Yeah.
his financial maturity,
This is really
Salubra would approach wearing the ring of House Stormwave.
Yes.
All right. I think you've done enough, son. I'll talk to them about waving the dead.
Yeah. Like,
I'm so proud of you
Yeah.
for taking ownership of this.
You just needed the literacy class.
You've
and then
learned
you
your
know
lesson.
You get a
You
grant.
understand the impacts on your credit.
I might have a child now. I have to think about college funds.
And
my
you would
God.
be like, oh yes,
This is
also why I
my baby
became
shower gift to
financially
you.
literate. It'd probably come out that Nim actually got close to the monarchy like pretty early on to influence tax law and inheritance law. That was inbred into my
Oh,
backstory.
so you're evil.
I mean, practical.
Nim has a Scrooge McDuck room somewhere in our cave.
Every time you dive
Hopefully
into
we'll
it, you
find
realize
it.
how
Yeah.
solid gold actually is and break your fingers.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about memories. I guess I probably should mention this. One of the things that Ryder and I talked about was that, I think going into the final arc, so I have to kind of rip the Band-Aid off a little bit. So as much as possible, Enoch will have recovered his rest of his memories. Maybe there's some things that need to be hidden behind a history check or certain things like that. But yeah, by and large, he's going to remember everything that he did and other things like that. So perhaps that will help, perhaps that will hurt. We will find out.
When we open up this box.
That's great. You'll remember the names of all of the animals that I bring you. I bring you like a new animal at the beginning of each month, just to kind of like desensitize your hatred for for flora and fauna.
The thing is, I think Enoch will still be uncomfortable with the animals, but Carl will really like the animals.
Of course he will.
And because Carl likes them, Enoch will show an interest
That's great.
in them.
How do you feel about salamanders?
Joe is very pro salamander.
Who is Joe?
Enoch thinks that they are very slimy and does not want to touch them.
all right.
What else? Anybody else have any big important things?
Yeah.
That I think as part of my big wrap up here too, thinking about what your big things are.
Yeah.
Who do you think maybe you've had the greatest change, the most dramatic shift in your relationship with? Think about that as we get some last ads here.
I guess some of the things that I would say is that as we were doing those sort of big tussle matches where we were all in our final forms, Nim really has felt like a sense of responsibility towards Kennedy and helping him come into a sense of peace with what he's become and work through that. And I think she would work with him to try and train as much as possible. And I think that she wouldn't really know. I think it would be kind of messy. I think she wouldn't know how, but she would show up. And I think that would just be really really meaningful. And I think she would be so glad to have the opportunity to revisit this relationship in ways outside of sort of the controlling aspects that she had before, and just get that second chance. And I think she'd be so scared of blowing it that she'd go to Silas, the OG, and crying probably one time in a rare show of emotionality, and be like, how do I not be Riona? How do I not make this bad? And yeah, and I don't know that he would have any easy answers for her, but
I think the most impactful
Yeah.
answer he'd be able to give is, you are worried about that.
Yeah.
And that makes you feel different.
Yeah. So that would be huge. And then in a really similar vein, she'd probably start a band with Solarius.
There's a segue, and then
Yeah.
there's a 6-lane change.
Yeah, it's called the Jersey Slide. Yeah, and I think she would all and they would put on plays about different times she had seen in her life. Pirate era, Royal Mistress era, Bognap era.
It strangely looks a lot like the covers of Florence and the Machine's albums.
Yes.
Bognap.
Yeah, Bognap. Yep.
Why was it sold out?
It was the best one.
Yeah, but I couldn't get tickets.
It was the best one.
There's 7 of it. 8 of us. 9.
The villagers wanted to see it again.
Yeah, so many.
I think Jabanu joins the band with his oud, but then like
Yes.
takes it way too seriously after a little while, and then they split up because of creative differences.
We just kind of wanted to get them together in a garage and get drunk.
It's that one episode of The Office where like they just keep adding people and kicking out the original.
I think the village populates an NPC named Yoko.
And then I think Jabanu goes to Nim for advice about his writing. And I think he finally finishes the last book in his trilogy, The Sultana's Last Dance. And he does decide that the story is only good if Jerry does die in the end. And I think he realizes that.
I didn't even finish the second one.
I am getting around to starting the series.
We're working on the play right now.
That's why he only shares it with Nim, because Nim's the only person who knows.
We're still in the group chat, man.
I'll wait for the movie, I guess.
And then I think finally his relationship with Iris changes. I think he used to see her as a burden, but now I think that he would protect her even if he wasn't obligated to. And that's it for Jabanu.
I don't know that I have a single person that I feel that I grew closer to. I think this opportunity has like fundamentally changed how I will be playing like as we go forward, being able to just show up for all of these people as they would do that for me. I truly feel that now. So everybody is my answer in the saddest, sappiest way.
I think Kennedy's is the same way, but his is more, he knew you for a week, was gone for 3 months, came back and was only back with you for a month. So he barely, besides Nim, knew no one here. And so like his perspective on Jabanu when he first met was that Jabanu was very one-minded. And so seeing how Jabanu has changed after that 3 months, that, you know, he actually ran into danger instead of running away from danger, that he wanted to get to know him better, to see like what changed, what caused it to change, and then realizing, oh my God, Jabanu also has a bunch of sisters. I too have a bunch of sisters. Let's bond over this, man. Yeah, exactly. And then also bonding over the fact that they both respect Nim, but there's still trauma there that Nim has caused both of them. So they both get to work through it of learning to forgive, because there are some moments where you can still appreciate that person, but you can't forgive them just yet. But on that same spectrum, I think he gets closer to you and they form a platonic soulship.
If only we could have got Ajax in there too.
Ajax is there.
Delicious.
In the sky. Ajax is probably suffering.
Sorry. It needs to be
My
said every
goodness.
time. Yeah.
Anything else from folks? Any last big thoughts, big changes, things that you need to make sure you got on the record of having worked on or accomplished on yourself or anything?
Well, I think Enoch has grown. He'd already grown kind of close to Icarus and Kennedy. So I think the people that it's changed the most with would be Iris. So they have always been at odds because they're two sides of the coin as far as the purpose of the natural world, and also, you know, he has created a machine that directly harms Iris. But I think, you know, he's asked her to help at least mitigate some of that damage, and how can we work that? And as we move towards, you know, the end of the campaign, how could he try to fix some of the things that he did? And then I also think Enoch has grown closer to Nim because they are very much two sides, foils to each other. Nim was, you know, a normal person, a good person who became a monster because of, you know, forces outside of her control.
Yes.
Enoch was a monster who was forced to do better. And I think because of that, they kind of understand each other very well. And also, Nim can help Enoch with something, which is to begin to remove his programming. Because even though that has prevented Hermes from getting out, and among other things, he can't truly make the right choice if it's not his choice.
And I think, like, as Nim is helping dismantle that, like, probably, like, you know, like, that she confesses to him that Erebos has similar control over her. And I think she apologizes for using the language of power against him. And I think in some ways, like, probably Enoch is who her relationship changes with the most, just because, like, she's caused him harm, but it's not to the same magnitude that a lot of other people. And also, like, they've both been really long-lived. She cannot hurt him in the same way that she can hurt everyone else around her. And I think that gives her an incredible sense of safety. And I think she just really admires the man and that he's becoming and the choices that he's making.
I think, like, the last thing I'll say is on the relationship between Kennedy and Icarus is that there's a lot of wishtray that Kennedy sees in Icarus, so he automatically gets very close. And I think there's a lot that, like, he confesses to Icarus that he wouldn't tell the rest of the party, and one of them is that the next time that they meet Arden, he's afraid that he's not going to walk out of it because he's met him twice now, and both times he's almost died. And one of the times he played the card of, yeah, I'm going to join your team, but he can't play that card again. So he's afraid that the next time that they meet, this will be his end.
On that same note, Iris confides first in Jabanu that she is afraid of death.
Yeah, I think Icarus didn't grow up with really any siblings. So this was the first opportunity to not keep every burden as his own personal responsibility and actually reach out for help. So that is different depending on who it is. It's usually more personal with Kennedy and more family related. But as well as with Iris and Jabanu, he no longer views you as people to save or protect, which is a lot for him, but more as people to learn from. And even if you don't survive this, he can carry something on with him. And that's like a different perspective to death that he's never had before. So relationship changing, it's kind of with everyone, like some other people were saying, as in, like, these are people who can help me. I don't only have to help them. And that is such a simple thing, but it is a really big change in attitude for him.
So 5 years is a long time, but for those of us, we've moved, we've been other places in our lives, we've lived maybe smaller lifetimes in a number of places. It can be a very long time, and it can be a very short time as well. Because by the time you get comfortable in the space, you find a rhythm, you are essentially getting pulled back out of this. 5 years could come and go in a blink of an eye, depending on your perspective and depending on the relative nature of things as we consider this. What we need to transition and prepare for in Arc 4 is the list of offerings that I provided to you all off screen between Arc 3, starting at the beginning of Arc 4. And for the audience to know, again, it was some 20 or 30 options, and they have already discussed
a big long list
as a group as to what they want to do first. And at the end of this episode, I want to be able to look at you all and confirm with all of you, we are going to be going after and attempting to rescue Ajax, Raya, and Castore, who are part of the caravan that are currently being held captive in the Iron Reach Kingdoms in the northern parts of Viridia. We're all on the same page, and that is where we're going to be going at the beginning of Arc 4. Yes?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
They put it all on the line for us.
Yeah.
And it's our time to return the favor.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's one thing that I'd like us all to do as we prepare for next episode.
Yeah.
I need everyone to please roll initiative.
Oh my God.
We'll see you in episode 62. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I got a natural 20.